Welcome to the video. My name is Dr. Adam Sawyers. I am a very average powerlifter and a not so bad coach. Now, I'm currently recovering from a bilateral quadriceps tendon rupture. That means I snapped both quads off. And this is my training as I try and get back up to 600 total. So, as you can see by the lights, I've been playing about with different lighting setups to see if I can find one that actually looks decent. Now, for filming talking head stuff, I've got a decent enough setup sorted, but for filming these training videos, you can see I've got the 4 different lights in here I've been messing with. There's that light coming through the conservatory, and there's where you are, which is the entrance to the garage, which is another source of light, obviously, that can make a difference. So I'm not sure how this looks. What I've got on now is, this has got like a purple light, this has got a white light on. You'll be able to see them. It's not professional looking, doesn't really matter right now. I want to get a setup so that it's like mostly fine, good enough quality for the videos, but doesn't need to be like crazy high quality. Something I realised as well, sounds really silly, but I've been using an old phone for my training when I can use ASC Performance app on my iPad instead. I didn't think to do that. So the plan for today, I don't know if you can see that from there, is bench. I've not benched, well, obviously the other day I had some incline. But I've not done any real bench since the competition, which was on the 21st of December. So I'm just going to start off real nice and easy to get going with it. Put the main light on to see if that makes any difference at all to the lighting. Problem with that is, it would be good down lighting, but it's just behind the rack. I think what I'd need to do is move the rack back so the light actually comes inside the cage. I'm going to try a few different setups with the lights as I go through the sets. And something that dawned on me is I may as well trim out, as an interim solution to not wanting to always just be talking through the session and leaving it running. What I'll do is I'll just trim out the dead bits in the middle instead. So this time, let's try it without this light on, see if that makes any difference. I honestly don't know if it will. The lighting stuff, it seems real simple, but because there's so many objects and stuff in here, I just don't know the best way to light it. Something that I know I need to tidy up the mess back there, but obviously I've got the lights in because I don't know what the best setup is. But I think what I'm going to do is move all those extra attachments that I don't tend to use out into the shed instead. Anyway, training stuff. So that one looks okay. It probably doesn't even look any different to you. And clearly this is not like a super hardcore workout. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try, where can I put that? I'm going to try, instead of the white light, that's definitely going to be in the way. I'm going to try and, this is why I can't have nice things. Instead of the purple light, I'm going to try a white light instead. But my actual bench sets, I'm going to go for, I think I should check my program, shouldn't I? I've just assumed I'm benching more than 100 because it would be silly not to be. So it's week 1 of the program. The 3x5 at 110. Right. I'm going to load up the weights. and then mess about with the camera stuff. So I'm only doing this whilst I'm training because it is relatively easy training for now. But obviously over the coming weeks it's going to get harder. What I'm looking for is I want to try and get the lighting setup sorted so that it's just done. And then what my plan will be is I've got a roll of duct tape. I'm going to put a cross on the floor where the lights need to be and where the camera wants to be, so that it's consistently, the lighting looks okay. That's the plan anyway, so we'll see how that goes. If I can get this over there without breaking something. So this is like a gold. So the light on this is brighter, but it's got a gold backing, whereas that one's got a silver backing, just to see what difference that makes. Let's see. It's like a proper professional looking setup in it when it really isn't. It's very amateurish. So today, in today's video, all we're talking about is lighting. Basically, nothing to do with training. And the other thing is, ideally I want a setup that I don't have to mess about with, in terms of like, it's not hard to get around, because I'm going to need two setups really. I'm going to need one setup for deadlifting and one setup for benching. Unless, this is a big unless, something I have been considering is moving the platform inside the rack. That's quite a big task. I haven't done that in the past, and the reason for that is because I used to sumo deadlift, and so it could potentially be an issue from that perspective, but I don't mess with that anymore. Anyway, let's do an actual set with this lighting, see how this is. That was alright. So I would say it's like RPE 7-ish. So one set, 5 reps, RPE of 7. Start a rest timer. So what I'm going to do now, 2 more sets of 5 with that, providing everything's fine. I will try this same light with that setup. And then I'll need to figure out a setup with the garage door closed, because it's often raining pretty bad. If anyone knows anything about setting up garages and lighting and stuff, let me know. Bear in mind, this is rented, so I can't do any structural work. I can't change any of the electrics in here. So I've only got 2 sockets, and both of them I'm having to run extension cords to these for. I'm not sure. Something I considered was turning the rack that way, but then it's because of the end of it with a pull down, then I think it's just going to get in the way, because I think it's longer than it is. Yeah, it's longer than it is wide. So either the rack can go, well, it can either go backwards or forwards. There's no other choice really. Something I thought about is the rack goes further back, and then those cupboards either go in that room or come further forwards. But there needs to be enough space to get through that door there. I'm not sure yet. I have a feeling that this lighting potentially will look the best, because there's that soft light, there's that key light, I think, and then there's some light coming from outside. There's a little bit from behind, but not much. That felt alright. I say that was actually easier than the last one. What I am feeling though is my pecs are a little bit sore. Not bad sore, just from training on Monday. Obviously just not used to the work. And lowering the bar into my chest feels like it's bruising me a little bit. That's pretty poor really, isn't it? Anyway, one more. That one seems to look alright. I'm going to try is moving this around. Oh, that's going to be in the way, innit? Try moving it back this way. See, this is the thing, right? To be a good coach, you don't need to know anything about lighting and filming and stuff. But to get enough clients to coach, to get more experience and so on, you obviously need some skill with marketing and social media stuff to actually be able to do it. Anyway, last set of 5. That one was tougher, but still quite easy in the grand scheme of things. Just been like trying to figure out the best place to put stuff, if I do move stuff or not. Anyway, with that said, I'm going to move on to the next exercise. So the next one is slightly unusual, just because it doesn't tend to get prescribed much by many coaches, and it is a lying barbell front raise. So I'm a huge fan of training the front delts. So I like front raises, seated, standing, lying, incline, all the angles, deficit. So you do it on a deficit with either a cambered bar or using a dumbbell. That would tend to make that more effective. So that's what I tend to do with that. So if you think when you bench, that initiation of the movement there, starting the press, it's using your front delts quite heavily. I think it's not like it's a magic exercise, but I do see loads of progress with it, especially in people, lots of powerlifters that start, because they don't train it, because they'll have had like the science-based advice of like, we don't need to train your front delts because they get plenty of volume through the pressing. Yeah, for bodybuilding, you probably don't need to grow them anymore. But for strength stuff, that's irrelevant, because that little bit of accessory training you get is not actually training them against the maximal load. So usually you get really fast bench gains just by adding some relatively heavy front delt training in. So yeah, it's not like it's like the magic exercise. I do see lots of gains from it. Now what I need to do is I'm just going to swap the exercise on the app, because I'd planned to do it with a cambered bar, but for the sake of swapping the bars out, I'm just going to stick with this because it's easier, because I've already got it set up. And then the next thing is, it doesn't matter at this point of training if I'm basically just training like a beginner again, of just doing more bench to get started. And then what I'll do is, when that starts getting stuck, I'll add in more variation, more movements if I need to. So all I'm doing to start with for this is literally just 2 sets of 8 reps. I'm going to start with a bar, because one caveat, one thing I need to add to front raises is that it is very easy to overdo it when you're not used to it. And bear in mind, so my bench is probably not super strong at the minute, but I've just done 3x5 at 110, which suggests my max is 130 to 140. I would be confident benching 140 at least here. So I'm using 20 kilos. If you bench 100, you might need to grab one of the easy bars or the smaller loaded bars with 10 15 kilos on and start with one of them kettlebells. And so what I'm thinking is, I don't know if you can see, right? So you see my finger? What I'm thinking is, these mats here go underneath that, and I move that back So can you see that point in the wall there? So that the front of the rack is in line with that wall there. So that'll give me like an extra foot or so there. And with these under that, I can deadlift there as well. Because right now, where you are, so where the camera is, you're on a tripod, which is in the corner here of the garage, which means I can't close the door. And the problem is all the mess and stuff there. If I can move you back, so if I can line up the rack with that pillar there, then move that back. So obviously that's going to come back like a foot or so. They're slider doors, so that should be fine. This bike can then come in the front here. There'll be loads of floor space there. The only thing I was concerned about is the drop down gap from here if I was squatting heavy. Now, that would be a problem if I was squatting heavy. But now, given the nature of my rehab and stuff, I'm not likely to be squatting anything that's actually heavy. So I think I'll probably do that, and then what I can do is I've got some other strips of rubber. I could lay them in front of this if I needed to get that extra step up if I needed it out of the rack. That's what I'm thinking anyway. It's a big job. It's a lot to do for it to possibly not work and possibly be more of a mess. But what I could also do then is move all of these bits sort of out of the way there. It means that I can film from inside, have more floor space there. I think I've decided that's what I'm doing. Big jobs for tomorrow. Probably won't do it tomorrow, to be honest. I'm going to deadlift tomorrow. Ooh, yeah. Anyway, I should just do some sets. So, like the rest of the stuff for today, I'm just starting off nice and easy. Well, this entire week, I'm literally just going through the motions. It's somewhere between a deload week and an intro week of a block. So, just 8. This is going to be the least impressive thing ever, right? 8 of them, that's it. And then I'm going to go train my legs. So I will start off the legs. I'm going to see if I can squat today, because it's variable with my knees of how difficult or how easy it is, like in terms of pain. If I can, I'll do a couple of sets of squats. If I can't, then I'll obviously be not squatting. And then once I'm done here, I'm going to go straight to the gym and I'm going to do leg press. Again, assuming my knees are okay. Leg extensions, and then single leg extensions, and then some isometric holds. I can't remember if it's split squat isometrics or squat isometrics. I'm not sure. Anyway. So, squats first. I'm like talking as if I'm going to be done. So that's the next thing as well, is with the lights. So what I'm thinking is, if this can all move back here, and if that works out to be a decent spot for the lights, then I can squat with the lights there, because now they're in the way for me to squat, because I'll need to put the bar here. So I need to move them out the way first. And the thing is, like, I am more useful now helping other people than myself as an athlete, though I have decided that, like, I do want to try and get to that 600 kilo total. So if we think 300 kilo deadlift, 180 kilo bench, and then that's only a 120 squat really, so that shouldn't be too bad. It's just the time, obviously, just need to crack on. And I think with the current rate of weight loss, so I'm down about 1.5 kilos so far this week, but bear in mind it's the first week, so like it doesn't really count, does it? So let's try moving these and see how they go. See how this goes, I should say. I'm quite happy with the setup. I've got a setup sorted for filming like the talking head ones, like I said, but it's just these YouTube ones that I need to figure out, so that then, like I say, it's nice and repeatable. So I'm going to do these ones heel elevated, because so I don't know if I've told you this, I currently have a broken ankle as well, which is, I'm waiting to find out some stuff about that basically. But anyway, my ankle range of motion is effectively non-existent as a consequence of that. So I'm going to use the heel wedges, and because my foot's still swollen, my squat shoes don't fit me. Anyway, welcome to my therapy session. So let's just try body weight first. Okay. That is actually really hard. And it's right on that line between good discomfort and just outright pain. So I think I'm going to call it there for the squats. And then, yeah, I'm going to head to the gym, do leg press, leg extensions, other bits. So the leg press is easier than squatting because of the range of motion and all the pressure where it's going. It's much, much easier to control. So that's why I'm going to be using that. Probably aren't going to film, just because of the stuff I talked about before. And I will see you tomorrow, whenever the next video is. Take care.